Hello, welcome to the Happy Families podcast. December 10, 2025. Today's the day that the social media minimum age legislation kicks off. It's rolling out. It's happening as of, now. I'm sure there's going to be some teething errors. I'm sure that there's going to be some challenges. And parents, no, you do not get to abrogate your responsibility to keep your kids living a healthy life and away from screens as much as you can. But today on the podcast, we're going to do something different. Kylie's going to role play. Mrs. Happy Families is not going to be my wife and co-host. Actually, you are. You always are. But Kylie, today you're going to play the role of reporter, intrepid reporter, because
the real reporter didn't want to talk to you second time round.
Well, it's not that the real reporter didn't want to talk to me. It's that they weren't given permission. So to cut a long story really short, I was interviewed by a reporter from a news organisation that we shall not name right now because that could get them in trouble. And the interview questions were so good. Like so good. And I loved the interview so much. And I said, well, that was great. I wonder if you could interview me again and I could record it for the podcast. And they went away and asked the boss, and the boss said no. So therefore, because we've got the questions, Kylie's going to pretend to be that reporter, and we're going to do a reenactment, except Kylie, knowing you're going to have a bit to say. You're not just going to ask questions. So maybe you will. I don't know.
Well, what's my stage name?
I'm not allowed to say it. We're just going to say Kylie, the intrepid reporter. So we're going to go through this wonderful interview. I'm sure I've forgotten most of my answers, but it was a great interview, and I'll come up with some more good ones right after this. Hello and welcome to the Happy Families podcast, real parenting solutions every single day on Australia's most downloaded parenting podcast. We are Justin and Kylie Coulson, but today Kylie is playing the role of the intrepid reporter who has a bunch of questions for me about the social media minimum age legislation, which kicks off today right around the country. Let's not waste any time, intrepid reporter Kylie. What is the first question? Let's make this interview happen.
Well, thank you for joining me today, Dr. Justin.
Yeah.
Today's a really big day for parents out there as they deal with some pretty big emotions, I would say, with the rollout of the social media ban for under 16s.
So we're technically calling it the social media minimum age legislation limits, but
it's
that's
a mouthful,
fine.
Isn't it?
Okay.
So I've got some really important questions for you.
Okay.
And I know that parents are itching to find out what you've got to say about them.
Can't wait.
How are parents feeling about the upcoming social media ban, do you think?
Well, you've got kids. Can I ask, how do you feel about it?
Oh, I'm so excited.
Why?
Because...
And by the way, I did this to the reporter. Like, I love turning questions back on reporters. But anyway, go ahead.
Because at this point, there's only one child in our house that it impacts, but it just allows her to reconnect in positive ways, even if it's only for a short time. But she's actually taken it on board really well. Yeah,
at this point she has, very much. So my position is pretty much as follows. Parents that I've been speaking to around the country consistently have been saying, oh my goodness, thank goodness. We are so grateful. We need this social media ban. There are obviously some who think that it's silly. There are some who don't really care and think that it's a bit meh, a bit nah, whatever. But generally speaking, the response has been overwhelmingly positive. Parents are struggling with kids and their screens, particularly the social media side of things. And just to be really clear about it, kids can still access content that's on social media if it's publicly available. Like, they can jump onto an internet browser and look up a TikTok about whatever thing they're interested in, and they will be able to find it if it's publicly available. But what they can't do is they can't have a social media account, and they can't be followed by an algorithm and have ongoing suggested content directed and targeted at them because of who they are, because of what they've clicked on, what they've liked, what they've shared, what they've commented on.
And I would assume because they don't have their own profile, in spite of the fact that they can access content that's publicly available, they can't comment?
I'm not sure about commenting or not. We'll have to see if our daughter can do that later today. But this is the critical thing. We're trusting, and this is a hard thing to do with social media companies. Big tech is just not trustworthy. But we're trusting that there's not something going on in the background where kids are still being monitored. Certainly without an account, this should be a good thing. And parents generally are feeling really, really positive about this social media minimum age legislation.
I am curious how you think the kids are feeling about this.
I've spoken with a number of adolescents over the last couple of months about it. Some of them think that it's ridiculous. There's a whole lot that are arguing, oh, we're just going to get a VPN. For those who are not familiar, VPN's virtual private network. It's a way of hiding where your router is and being able to get access to content from overseas or pretend that you're in a place that you're not. From my conversations with Julie Inman-Grant, Australia's e-safety commissioner, technology is going to be implemented sufficient to stop VPNs and fake profiles and fake IDs and other things working. So it's going to take a very, very, very motivated teenager to get around the technology. At this point, while there are some kids that are really upset about it, and there are some who are legitimately disadvantaged, like there are some kids who are running businesses on social media, and this is going to be hard for them. But generally speaking, most kids are fine with it, and some are actually excited. Like there are some kids that I've spoken to who are like, yeah, this is a problem and I need the help, and this is going to stop me from being online.
Do you think it's tricky timing for families, given that school has just finished and we're heading into the holidays?
Yeah, so when the reporter asked me this question, sorry, you are the reporter, of course, in this role play.
You're not very good at role play.
I'm so sorry, yeah. I was kind of like, when
I
is
am the boss of this now.
When is the right time?
You've given up your role.
My response is when is the right time for this? Like, you could argue that it's terrible timing because school holidays is just starting, but you could also, if you did it during the school year, like the start of term 1, or I don't know, the start of term or midterm, at no point is this going to be easy or lacking in complexity. I actually think at a personal level that this is great timing. Kids are not at school. They're not reliant on their devices, I wouldn't think, the same way that they would be otherwise. They've now got a whole lot of free time where we can say to them things like, go outside and play. Or, no, you don't need that screen, and no, there's nothing for you to look at anyway. Like, this is the time where kids get to be creative, they get outside, they get to use their bodies, and I think school holidays is the perfect time to roll it out so that kids can get used to it before school comes back. I like it. I like it a lot.
Am I allowed to have an opinion?
Well, you can say whatever you like. You're running this show, apparently.
I think it's great too.
Yeah.
I think it's great because, like you've already acknowledged, that it gives there's time for kids to kind of navigate life in a new space without added complication. But I also think they've got time on their side.
So they can get their friends around now and just get face-to-face and spend time together.
Yeah, they've got time on their side. And I feel like for those kids who are motivated, I think it's actually going to be hugely successful. For the kids that aren't motivated, it could be a little bit more challenging. But I think that if parents engage, this is actually a really awesome opportunity.
Yeah, so parent engagement is going to be huge around this, and for me, that's the key thing. It's also worth highlighting parents don't get to abrogate the responsibility here and say, oh, well, now that the social media minimum age legislation is in, I don't need to talk to my kids about screens. We've still got a lot going on here that really does matter, and I don't think that we can even for a moment pretend that this is just going to go away. Screens will cease to be an issue. This is a first step, and it's important, but there's a lot more to do. Before you ask the next question, we need to take a quick break. But after the break, the big 4 questions about how this minimum age social media legislation affects families. We're back. This is the Happy Families podcast. My name's Dr. Justin Coulson, and today I'm being interviewed in the absence of a reporter who was not allowed to be on the podcast to ask these questions. I'm being interviewed by Mrs. Happy Families, who wants to know what the reporter wanted to know. What's the next question?
Well, you've already acknowledged that you have only one child who will be navigating the social media ban. I'm interested to know how you're navigating it with her.
So we've had quite a number of conversations. She told us that all of her friends were going to get VPNs. They were going to be sneaky. They thought it was stupid. They hate it. And we asked her how she felt. And slowly but surely over the last little while, she's been reducing her access to platforms. She deleted one platform, then a few weeks later she deleted the next platform. She's been using them a little bit less, and we've just been talking to her about why this matters. And I don't think that it's been nearly enough. I'm not satisfied at all with the way that she's done it. I would have loved to have seen her do more, but at the end of the day, it's going to happen. It's futile for her to fight against it. And as of today, she doesn't have access to social media. So it's futile, and now it's happening.
What do we do if, like we mentioned earlier, we've got teenagers who are less motivated? How do we ensure that they don't feel isolated?
There's this argument that there are disadvantaged kids or minority kids who get support and help because they're allowed to have access to social media. There are two things that I want to say about that. First of all, if you look closely at the research, that's not necessarily the case. It might be in unique circumstances, but generally, if a kid's having a hard time offline because of their minority status or because of their group status, for whatever reason, when they go online, they tend to, yes, they might find some people who can be supportive, but they tend to get a pretty hard time online
I
as
was
well.
about to say,
yeah,
it kind of aligns pretty well with real life.
Yeah, being online is not a safer place, generally speaking. It's worse, even for people who have challenging backgrounds and who are looking for support online. It's very, very hard to get that support. Once they get the community, it can be helpful, but it's also reinforcing and doesn't necessarily help them to learn to navigate real life effectively, which has lots of downsides. Second thing to highlight is just this whole social media argument. I mean, I'm in a couple of group chats, and because I've gotten rid of social media myself, I've asked if we can move those group chats from Facebook Messenger to WhatsApp. And somebody said, well, what's the difference? And the difference for me is when I'm on WhatsApp, it's just social conversation. It's literally us talking in our group chat. Whereas when you're on Facebook and you check your Messenger, the algorithm also reaches out to you and pulls you back into the main site of Facebook, and then you get caught up in the algorithm. It's got its tentacles into you. And this is the central point that I want to make in terms of isolation. Being on social media is isolating. Facebook recently were involved in an antitrust trial in the United States. For those who are not familiar with antitrust, it's basically about breaking up monopolies. And in the antitrust trial, Facebook made the argument that between 80 and 90% of interaction on their platform now is not social. Rather, it's people who don't know each other watching short-form video/TV content and commenting, liking, and sharing. So we're not really following our friends. We're not really engaging with our friends. And social media has literally become not social media, but short-form television or short-form video media. And the algorithm is so addictive that it's causing harm to our kids and it's taking them away from real life. So the services... This is from the esafety.gov.au website. The services that eSafety considers will be age restricted include Facebook, Instagram, Kik, Reddit, Snapchat, Threads, TikTok, Twitch, X, formerly Twitter, and YouTube. But it doesn't include Discord, GitHub, Google Classroom, Lego Play, Messenger, Pinterest, Roblox, Steam and Steam Chat, WhatsApp, and YouTube Kids. Now, these may change as time goes on, but the thing that I want to emphasize here is that the things that have stayed, Discord, Messenger, Roblox, and WhatsApp are the main ones that I'm going to pick on right now, and even Pinterest, who have literally reached out and said, what can we do so that we can make sure that we are safe for people to be on? These are mainly about messaging. Now, there's some horrendous stuff that still gets messaged on these platforms, so I'm still concerned about these platforms for our under-16s. I don't think they should be on them. But at least there's no algorithms. At least there's no addictive technology. And these ones don't foment isolation the way the big ones do that have been highlighted as being age-restricted.
So what are some activities that might act as a good distraction over the school holidays?
Oh, I mean, like anything. When I was a kid, literally, my parents didn't see me during the school holidays from about the age of 13.
Most parents would say the same thing about their teenagers, except in your case, you were outside, and in a lot of cases, our kids are actually just in their bedrooms.
They're in the bedroom, or they're laying on the living room floor or the rumpus room floor playing a video game or something. When I reflect on my adolescent years, from about the age of 13, I started surfing, which meant that I had to ring my friends on the telephone that was connected to the wall in the kitchen, and they had to pick up the phone on the wall in their kitchen, and we had to say, what bus are you catching? And then they caught the bus from a different bus stop to me about 15, 20 minutes down the road. So hopefully they would catch the bus, and they would often have to run because we'd look at the timetable and go, oh my goodness, run. And then I would go to the bus stop and hopefully they'd be on the bus. And if they weren't, I'd get off the bus and then I'd walk home and I'd ring them and I'd say, you missed the bus, or I'd wait and hope that they were on the next bus. And then we would go to the beach and we would surf all day. And then we would come home and get this. I would sit down on a Saturday afternoon and I would watch 4 or 5 or 6 hours of Wide World of Sports on Channel 9. And that was fine. Why? Because I was outside for half the day and I was physically active and I was with my friends and there was lots of social time, lots of face-to-face time. And I didn't really care. Mum and Dad didn't really care that I was getting 4 or 5 or 6 hours of TV on a Saturday afternoon because I was living this really full and really active life. I'm not anti-screen. I keep on saying this. I'm not anti-screen. I am pro living a full, balanced, whole, healthy life. And if this legislation stops your kids from being on social media, but they're still playing Roblox, they're still playing Fortnite, they're still on their screens all day, every day, and they can be, make no mistake, they still can be, then the legislation has done nothing really. So what I'm interested in when you ask the question about what should the kids be doing, my answer is I don't care, so long as they're living a full life. If you live in a home like most Australians do, your kids are probably going to have a bicycle. There's probably going to be a basketball hoop somewhere. There's probably going to be a trampoline in the backyard or a swing set. There's going to be a park down the road or a beach or a mountain to climb or a skate park, or there'll be something somewhere. So I think the most important words that we can say to our tween and teens across the summer, now that this legislation here is, go outside. But I'm bored. I know, go outside. Or we can say, well, I mean, what would you like me to do about your boredom? Because that's what my parents used to say to me. What would you like me to do about it? And I'd look at them and realize that they were saying, it's not my problem. And they actually couldn't do anything about my boredom. My boredom was my problem. My dad used to say only boring people get bored. Or maybe that was Mum. I can't remember. So when I think about your question, what might act as a good distraction over the school holidays? Life would be a good distraction from screens over the holidays.
Well, Dr. Justin, thank you so much for your time today. I had a few other questions, but you've already answered them all. So I think we'll call it quits there.
Kylie, intrepid reporter extraordinaire, it's been a delight to talk with you, and thank you so much for asking that other reporter's question so that we could do this podcast episode today. Really hope that it's helpful. Honestly, this is a good thing, but there is still work for us to do as parents because kids can still use their screens as much as you let them. They've still got access to a lot of content online and a lot of things that can keep them occupied there that's not going to be in their best interests. If you would like more information about what's going on, check out esafety.gov.au. There is a social media hub there that's really easy to find, and it's got everything that you need to know about the social media minimum age obligation legislation, and I think you'll find it really helpful. We'll link to that in the show notes. The Happy Families podcast is produced by Justin Roland from Bridge Media. Mim Hammonds provides research, admin, and all of our other support. And for more information about making your family happier, please visit happyfamilies.com.au.